Motorsport Radio.
Hey everyone, Bradley Smith.
Hi guys, I'm Danny Buchan.
Hi, I'm Tom Sykes.
This is Motorsport Radio.
Oh yes. Hello. Welcome. This is the Superbike Show. My name is Lester and, well, we are back. But, for those who don't know, we're broadcasting at a very special time. Well, there's not really much special about it, just that we're on Tuesday this week, because I've got to go back to Brands Hatch this weekend, so that's why we can't do it on Thursday. And, yeah, talking about Brands Hatch, we definitely will this week, because you can't have failed to notice that there was lots going on at the weekend in BSB. The final happened there over the weekend. We will get to everybody's comments as we are very much live this Tuesday evening. And we want to know our special question. We want to know the answers to our question this evening, which is, if I strain over and look over at my other screen here, very prepared, I know, thank you. Hi, this is Motorsport Radio. We've been asking this evening on a poll on the BSB and Fans Facebook group, hello, who has provided the best entertainment this season? Not who's done the best job, not who's won the most championships, not who has done anything else, but who you think has provided the best entertainment this season. That's what we want to know. There's a poll running right now as we speak on this Tuesday evening on the BSB Fans and Facebook group over on the old Facebooks. If you're not a member of Facebook, get on it. If only to just tune in and be part of this here show. My name is Lester. We've got Liam Hodgins here with us. Hello, good evening, Liam. How have you been?
Good evening, Lester. I'm not too bad. How are you?
I'm all right. Yeah, not bad. Yeah, you know. We've also been joined by Michael Howarth, who's seemingly shorter than everybody else tonight because he's... why is that?
Because I'm much shorter than everyone else, but you need to do something with your microphone, Lester, because Liam sounds alright and you sound like a really, really shit pub DJ.
Amazing.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Anyway, thank you. Anyway, Michael Howarth is here, and so is Liam, and...
Honesty as ever.
Okay, yeah, so we'll be talking about BSB, MotoGP, and getting your comments and whatnot as well. So get them to us. We are live this evening. It's Motorsport Radio, and yeah, you can get involved in the show, let's say. Starting off then, Liam, with some MotoGP news. Tell us what's been happening for those who don't know.
Well, quite a lot's been happening this week. Nonetheless, there has been a race at the weekend where Fabio Quartararo wrapped up Rookie of the Year. Now, did anyone see that coming at the start of 2019?
Yeah.
I certainly didn't. Pretty sure, potentially, Fabio Quartararo and his entourage didn't even see that coming. So he's wrapped it up, 97 points ahead of Johan Mir in second. So, yeah, Fabio Quartararo, the revelation of 2019. And, well, Marc Marquez has been looking over his shoulder, ready and waiting for Fabio Quartararo to come and try and stop him from winning more championships. So Marc Marquez scored his 80th Grand Prix victory in Japan, but very nearly never made it to the end. He ran out of fuel in the slowdown lap, but managed it very nicely indeed to run out with, well, just after the checkered flag. So he's very good at everything, so why not fuel management as well? Former Rossi's crew chief, Jerry Burgess, has come out this week speaking to Australian press about Valentino Rossi, who crashed out at the weekend from 11th place. He's been having an absolute nightmare recently. And Jerry Burgess, who got dumped by Rossi at the end of 2013, has said that, he's been sticking around for too long. So believes that Rossi should have hung up his leathers, his boots, his helmet a wee while ago. Anyway, so if there's anyone who knows what he's talking about, it's Jeremy Burgess, or maybe still a little bit
Breaking
bitter.
news, disgruntled former employer slags off former employer.
Absolutely, yeah. But he said that a few times over the years. But then again, when he says it, Valentino Rossi ends up like jumping into another gear. So maybe that's what he needs. Maybe a kick up the backside and he'll be flying high in Australia this weekend. Who knows? Lorenzo believes he's made improvements. The last 10 laps of the race in Japan, he was lapping within a second of Marc Marquez in the race, which is the first time he's done that since his return in Silverstone. Doesn't sound like much, but he said that he was having a good bit of fun again on the bike. So, hey, for Lorenzo fans out there, it's a bit of news, a bit of high hope, silver lining and all that sort of stuff. He finished 40 seconds behind Marquez, which is the closest he's finished behind the leader since his return in Silverstone. And, well, Dovizioso was saying he was riding like a stupid rider, trying to claim second place from Quartararo on the closing stages of the Japanese Grand Prix. And he only finished 1.3 seconds behind Marquez. We know that Marquez sort of rolled it off towards the end, probably tried to save fuel, because if he was going the speed he did, he would have ran out. And something's come out in the last couple of days, which has probably been the most outrageous thing one of the most outrageous things I've heard all year. Now, the vacant seat alongside Paul Espargaro in the Red Bull KTM squad, it's been talked about who might get it. The new rider that is coming to the equation is Iker Lecuona from Moto2. He was supposed to be going to the IO squad in 2020, and that was announced before KTM announced they're pulling out of it next season. But it's been Speed Week have reported it, a Dutch news outlet, and take it with a pinch of salt. But I've got some sort of quotes from it here. I've used Google Translate. I don't know how good Google Translate is, but from what I've read, basically, since Brad Binder and Miguel Oliveira have been signed to Tech 3 for 2020, they've promised Hervé Poncharal, the team owner of Tech 3, that they can keep Brad Binder and Miguel Oliveira, which is very nice of them, but they might be bringing up Iker Lecuona, who's, well, still very young, 19 years of age, former world motocross rider, and I think it's his third year in Moto2, so he's very new to the whole racing on racetracks. Road courses. So yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. We'll keep an eye on that one, but I don't think it's something that will come to anything. It just seems like trying to find a news story out of nothing. So Iker Lecuona potentially going to Red Bull KTM in MotoGP in 2020. So going into Australia, there's now 4 riders covered by 13 points for third in the championship. Alex Rins, Maverick Vinales, Danilo Petrucci and Fabio Quartararo. And the way Fabio Quartararo has been going recently, he seems like the main threat for third in the championship. Dovizioso seems a little bit too far away to catch, but then again, who knows? So keep an eye on that one. That's going to be a very hotly contested third place in the championship, especially between Rins, Vinales and Quartararo. And probably the last bit about MotoGP is that after the race on Sunday, one thing about Rossi, he didn't seem too disheartened by the whole thing. He said that, he didn't have the pace, but he got held back in the opening stages, so he couldn't go with Rins or Crutchlow, which just seems a bit weird. But he seems happy to announce that he is in talks to try and drive Lewis Hamilton's Mercedes, and then Lewis Hamilton will ride his Yamaha M1. I wonder who's going to be better at what. Who knows? So,
it's a few wee bits. You mean the vegan that travels the world, saying that he needs to save the planet?
Oh, I was waiting for this to come out.
Yeah, what a clown.
I
used to like him, and then he decided he were vegan and we have to save the planet by not eating meat. Well, I'm about don't go on your jet, Lewis.
I did read somewhere that he did sell his jet because
for a cabbage. Sold it for a cabbage.
His car runs on fairy dust.
Anyway, right, we can get into slagging Lewis Hamilton off. There's plenty of Facebook groups about that, but we won't. We've got other things to talk about.
Right.
And anyway, I'm not a big fan of those types of sponsors other athlete might also do a little switch type thing, because they're always a bit and it just gives the people like us over the winter something to talk about. Maybe Rossi's going to do this, or maybe thingy blah blah blah. No, just no. Stop talking about it. Stop falling for it. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah. So who's gonna, if they're not gonna sign the corner, which it did come out the blue, like you said, who's going to ride the works KTM next year? Who else is in the fray?
Well, you've got Lecuona is in the fray. I believe Lorenzo is just a tiny bit in it, depending on what happens with Honda. But I think if the Honda thing fails, then I don't think KTM will take it. They really wanted Danny Pedrosa, which Danny Pedrosa declined immediately. Went, nah, no chance. I don't want to come back. Mika Kallio, he seems like the best bet at the moment. He's now just scored his first points of the season and 14th at Motegi. So if he continues that improvement, just remember he's coming back after a pretty horrible injury last year. And when he was fully fit, he was challenging Paul Espargaro and beating Bradley Smith. Bradley Smith, he's another one. It's hard to tell. I think Lecona would be a good shout. He's still really young, and trying to bring him up from Moto2, not a bad idea. But I think Miguel Oliveira, I think Miguel Oliveira should get it. He's been in MotoGP for a year. He's kind of gone under the radar, but he's such an exceptional talent. Brad Binder, I'd say he needs a year in Moto2 before in the Tech 3 squad before he actually gets it. But yeah, I would say that Miguel Oliveira would probably be the best shout.
So you maybe think that Lecona thing's coming, that KTM are going to put him on a retrainer and place him somewhere else in Moto2 then for next year?
Well, yeah, he was signed to the IO squad for next year, and then as soon as that was announced, the KTM announced they were pulling out of Moto2 to concentrate more on MotoGP. So he would still be sticking with the IO squad, but he'd probably run a Calic Shat or something. So look, one of the things, a strange one. I never saw it coming. Like most people didn't see it coming, but Speedweek they've been renowned for bringing out reputable stories. Sometimes are well against the mark. So yeah, I don't see the Lecona thing happening myself. But then again, who knows what can happen in MotoGP right now?
Who knows?
Okay, just to let you know as well that it isn't actually your connection. Maybe it is. I'll just freak you out. But Liam is in Scotland, and Scotland apparently has only just got dial-up broadband, dial-up internet. So if you do see Liam freezing quite a bit, that would be why, basically. And yeah, anyway. So
I'm still going to blame your processor.
So yeah, and apparently I sound fine now, as excellent as always.
Yeah, you sound a bit better than you did.
Yeah, well, anyway. So this is the Superbike Show. It is live on a Tuesday this week. Thank you very much for everyone who's been downloading the show recently. I know a lot of people do actually download this because...
Really? That's good of them.
I don't know why they download it, for their own reasons. Probably bored out of their minds on usually a Friday morning during their commute, maybe, or listening to us during work. Isn't that good to know, Michael?
Joyful. Absolutely
exactly. So yeah, that's the MotoGP. Oh, he's off, and he's gone. That's yeah, he's gone to. Yeah.
Well, we can announce that Johan Zarco will be replacing Takaki Nakagami this weekend. So yeah, that's a couple of races that we're going to have to really watch out for, Malaysia and Valencia as well after this weekend, because hey, if he does well, then there's a nice wee factory Honda carrot dangling in front of him for next season. So
well, didn't we talk about that on last week's thing?
Yeah, we did, but that was just talking about him being signed up. But this weekend is going to be the first weekend, and hey, he tried to get himself a factory Honda ride last year by riding up the back of Marc Marquez, going into turn 1 at Phillip Island. So he's going back to a track that he done really well in his rookie season. Malaysia is after that, where he scored 2 podiums in the last 2 years and one in 2015 and 2016 in Moto2, and then he won Valencia, or nearly won at Valencia in 2017. He's just lost out to Danny Pedrosa in the last couple of laps. So yeah, it's a good few tracks for him, but I don't know if the Honda's going to suit him, because we know he really likes it silky smooth, and a bit like Lorenzo used to like riding the Yamaha. He kind of struggled with the Ducati. He's really struggling with the Honda, so I don't know yet.
Yeah, but to be fair, he's going on the preferred Honda, isn't he? Zarco,
yeah.
For Zarco's riding style, he's going on the preferred Honda because he's on Nakagami's bike, which from last year, which Crutchlow says is much easier to ride. He can ride it a lot smoother. So yeah, it's a difficult one for Honda, because we know that Nakagami will not be promoted to the factory team next year.
That's merely...
Nakagami is going to have to ride this year's bike next year, because they won't give him a 2020 bike. So Zarco could do really well on Nakagami's bike, jump over him, get the factory ride, and end up on a better bike next year, because Honda will have adapted this year's bike. It's a bit strange, isn't it?
Yeah, it does indeed. And poor Nakagami, he's been pushing for that 2020 Honda all season long. And as you said, we know he won't get the factory Honda ride, mainly because of his sponsor, Idemitsu.
Yeah, it's them that have said that he's not allowed to go. So they must have a serious amount of clout money-wise and stuff. But just seems very odd, doesn't it? That Zarco gets 3 rounds to prove himself on a year-old bike and then gets promoted, and poor Nakagama, that's had a fair season and done really well, gets like, right, you'll stay there, boy. You'll stay there.
Yeah. Poor boy's like, just forget it. You're not getting anything. But yeah, it's going to be so interesting. I know I'm not the only one that's interested in seeing what the outcome is between the Zarco and Honda thing. But as you said brightly, last year's Honda's a much easier bike to ride. Crutchlow and Lorenzo want to go back to it. Marquez is like, you know what? I prefer this bike, even though it's harder to ride. It's 3 to 4 tenths quicker than last year's bike. So whatever bike's the quickest, he's like, I'm sticking with it.
The thing is, Marquez is going to say that, isn't he? Because he's that much faster than every other Honda rider. Why would he want to give up his advantage? I think it's going to be taken out of his hands somewhat, because Honda can't afford to just keep having Marquez as the only rider that can win on it. They've got to let other riders win, because we've had it before on the show, saying that Marquez does one thing wrong and has to sit out half a season, where Honda are going to be nowhere. So they've got to do something, even if they almost develop 2 different bikes. But that's not Honda's way. They build one bike and everybody rides it. But they can't just leave it down to Marquez to develop a pile like he keeps doing.
Yeah, I seem to remember within the past 15 years, the similar things started happening with Honda. Like, as soon as Rossi left Honda, they started struggling. Then they sort of had a development bike for Hayden while Pedrosa raced another one. And then as soon as 800 started, they started developing the bikes, throwing hundreds of chassis at it. If it wasn't for Marquez, you're right, Michael, Honda would be nowhere this year. They'd be in the doldrums and, struggling for top 5s.
Have we
lost Leicester?
Oh, I thought you. Sorry. I thought you were talking to Michael. Then I was literally sharing the stream and sharing the love.
Oh,
but there you go. So, okay. Any alternative opinions on what Michael and Liam has said? Get in touch, as we are definitely live on this Tuesday evening.
I'm sure there'll be some alternative opinions.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, and we might challenge you if you're just going to, share an opinion for the sake of trolling. We might ask you to follow it up, so at least have a bit of a thought-out idea as to why you think the way that you think, if you do indeed think that way. Doesn't matter to me either way. Right, so shall we move on to Moto 2, Moto 3, or is there any more bits of gossip anywhere from MotoGP?
Not unless there's something that's broken within the past hour.
Probably is, usually does on the show.
Yeah.
If you want to go, just a quick bit of a discussion about Rossi. You're saying not doing so well this weekend, but went back to the aluminium swinging arm and the same exhaust as the rest of the Yamaha riders, because he thought that it might be better. There might be a better package, but he was losing the advantage because he had no data to share with anyone. So he's actually gone back to try and move forward again for next season.
Yeah, he's kind of comparing it to try and figure out where he's losing all the time and where the other riders are starting to pull it, because even Morbidelli's now starting to outperform Rossi by quite a bit. And you got to say, the weekend, to be fair, the race I thought Rossi was going to do a lot better than he actually did. Through the dry practice, he seemed all right, and then on Sunday he was just nowhere. So, which is not Rossi. He's normally completely the other way around, isn't he? Yeah, absolutely. And that's what Jeremy Burgess actually quoted in his interview with one of the Australian publications, that, even a couple of years ago, we knew that if Valentino qualified 10th, he would move up at least 5 positions and challenge for the podium or get a podium. Now he's just sort of staying where he's qualified or dropping back. He started 10th and was running 11th in the race, which is totally unlike Rossi, especially when you've got Quartararo up pushing Marquez for the win, and then Vinales coming through the field and pushing Dovizioso for third. So it's an absolute nightmare situation, and he's going to have to hope that he finds something, and potentially the new crew chief he's bringing in for next year can come up with some fresh ideas, because it's badly needed. It's almost like he's kind of given up on this season, because like you say, Rossi, if Rossi ever started 8th, Rossi would finish 4th. If Rossi started 10th, he could finish 5th, and he's just not doing that. For the last couple of races, he's hovering around where he's starting a race and most of the time finishing slightly lower, which is, it's just not like him. It's almost like he's just riding around for the hell of it for this season, scared of doing himself a real mischief, and maybe we'll see swan song here next year, because I think
I don't, Yamaha are not going to keep him after. They're not going to re-sign him next year. I don't think now, unless something miraculous happens. But yeah, I think he wants to go out with a bang, and I think he's just given up this year.
I think you're right because, as I said, he didn't even seem that upset after the race on Sunday, crashing out. He seemed sort of
knackered,
still upbeat, and no, not even knackered. That's the thing. He didn't even look knackered, like he was pushing 100%. And
what are you saying, Liam? Are you saying Rossi hasn't been pushing 100%? Liam Hodgins slams Valentino Rossi. Sensation. Attack internet.
I've already had that once this year. No more. But yeah, you're right. Swan Song year next year. I reckon that he might stick around for another year after that, but not with the factory squad. Potentially running his own team with Luca Marini. So him and Luca can race together for a year.
We will get onto talking about maybe who might be running their own team. That's something I did suggest a couple of weeks ago on previous shows and repeat on last week's show, which was backed up by a sighting in the BSB paddock that I saw. But I'll tell you more about that later. So stay tuned if you want to know what the hell I'm talking about. It is the Superbike show. And we don't just talk about superbikes. Bad gum. No, occasionally we talk about MotoGP, as in every single show, and World Superbikes, cause the 90s, why not? Can't really drop them, can we? Yeah, we will get on to talking about those things a bit later on. But first, back to the GP paddock. Moto 2, Moto 3 news, Liam.
Yeah, and I was hoping we could get the video clip for this one, but the save of the century by Alex Marquez, it's been sort of overdubbed with Randy Mamola videos from, I don't know what GP it was, but it was back in the 1980s. And yeah, if no one ever saw it, Alex Marquez coming out the final corner during free practice 3 in the wet conditions, basically high-sided himself over the top of the handlebars, but saved it, put his feet down and basically ran along the home straight with his bike and got back on it and just continued on like nothing happened. And yeah, it's nothing new from the name Marquez because we used to Mark Marquez saving absolutely everything and anything, but then Alex Marquez has gone and outdone him. So yeah, for the Christmas party this year between the Marquez family, I think Alex Marquez can claim that he's had the best save of the season or the best save of the century between the Marquez brothers. So yeah, it was quite good to watch. And he nearly done the same again during the race in front of Tom Luthi. It wasn't quite as big, but it was a little bit faster, but saved it. Talk about the race. Luca Marini has pulled off his back-to-back victories. So, yeah, won at Thailand last time out, won again at Motegi, beating Thomas Luthi in the last couple of laps. Very, very different ride to what we've ever seen from Luca Marini. Very happy to sit in second after he got past for the lead and then realised where Thomas Luthi was better, and he realised that he saved his tyre a lot better. Passed Thomas Luthi again and went and won the race, and he's now sitting 58 points behind Alex Marquez in the championship. And I was calculating it up. In the last 2 races, he scored 29 points more than Alex Marquez. If he continues this on with 3 races to go, you never know what could happen. Thomas Luthi is now... You never know. That's the motto from last week's show. Thomas Luthi went from 4th in the standings to 2nd after his 2nd place. And he's now sitting 36 points behind Alex Marquez. So with Marquez finishing 6th, he closed 10 points back up on him. Now, all the championship contenders behind Marquez seem to be just eking the points back very slowly. But the thing is, they're taking the points off each other. So Binder, Fernandez, Luthi, and Navarro as well, they're all just sort of taking the points off each other very slowly. So it's kind of letting Marquez off the hook. But you kind of get the feeling that one of them is going to come through at some point and challenge Marquez if he doesn't get his finger out in the last 2 races of the year. Any one of either Binder, Fernandez, Luthi, Navarro, even Marini, who's brought himself into play, could win it with 75 points still left in the table, and there's 58 points covering the top 6 in the championship. So anything can happen. If Marquez has a slip up, then we could have a 6-rider battle for the 2019 Moto2 Championship, which will be absolutely brilliant going into the final race at Valencia. So that's something I'm hoping for, because going to Valencia would be brilliant. So disaster for Sam Lowes.
Oh yeah,
sorry, yeah.
Well, I was just going to ask actually. Interesting question, and maybe bring Michael in on this. Hi. Hi. What do you think then, Michael? Marquez, is he on the verge of the title, or is he starting now, as maybe Liam just suggested, as what might happen, if only for a grand finale championship nail-biting showdown. Is he starting to throw it away, or is he going to win it definitely?
It's not like he's not done it before, is it? We've seen him crumble before. But no, I think Liam got it spot on. That the rest of the guys around him are taking points off each other. So I think it all depends for Phillip Island this weekend. I think that will be the crunch. If Marquez can get away and win it or have a solid second place, then I think that's Marquez. Basically, the title's his. But if he has another disaster, then yeah, it's wide open. I'm trying to think really fast about where Marquez has finished in the past at these Rems. Whether I know he's not bad around Valencia, is he? So he's got that in his pocket for the last round. But Valencia is one of them tracks where anything can happen, and often does. So yeah, it's a bit. I think I'd say I'd make my decision after this weekend. It depends how Marquez handles Phillip Island, to be honest, as to whether you think whether he's going to start panicking about the championship or like he only needs one good result, doesn't he? And he's kind of there. Let's face it.
Yeah, I completely agree. He could actually wrap up the title this weekend. We could be talking about him nearly throwing it away, and then he could wrap it up this weekend if he beats Lute by 14. If he gets 14 points more than Lute, 8 more than Fernandez, and finishes ahead of Brand Binder. And if Marini wins the race and he finishes second, then he'll win the championship this weekend.
It's very much up to those other people, though. It's not just. I mean, you can only do what he can do.
It's up in the air, is what it is.
Well, the one rider that I would have said in the last few rounds that he was really starting to worry about was Brad Binder, because Binder had scored a ton more points than he had, and he was only 44 points behind going into Motegi. And the way Binder was on a roll, he was picking up lots of podiums, winning races now that KTM have sorted out the chatter and the chassis. He was looking like the danger man. Now, if he didn't have the disaster in qualifying, starting 18th, and then getting pushed off track by his teammate Martin, and then getting clobbered by Sam Lowes, which broke Sam Lowes' handlebar. I reckon he could have been in contention for the podium just because Jorge Martin picked up his first podium in the class. So I think the result of the weekend is kind of taking Binder out of it a little bit, because he was really on a roll. I think the one to look out for. It's Tom Lute is always there or thereabouts, and you could say that he's one to look out for, and he's 36 points behind. But then again, he blows hot and cold all the time, and every single championship he's been in. Way back in 2010, he was winning races in Moto2 back in 2010, and then every year he does put a title assault on, but he never gets close enough. He just misses that extra percent that he needs to win a championship. Maybe he can do it this year, but he scored his first podium since Catalonia at Motegi, and we know that's a circuit he goes really well at. So I would say that Fernandez is still his biggest championship title rival, and he's 42 points behind. So it's all to play for. If Marquez has a good weekend this weekend, then the title's his. If he has a disaster and all of his championship rivals beat him, then it's all up for grabs. All
right, excellent. We got the point. Moto 3. Sam Lowes. You were going to mention something about him before I interrupted you.
Yeah. So basically,
how it's gone. It's gone for a Burton.
I'm still here.
High-sided off the show.
Still here, don't worry.
While he sorts his phone out, you were saying, Liam.
Yeah, so Sam Lowes, bit of a disaster weekend. Couldn't get to grips with the rain in qualifying, and then he was just starting to work his way through the field a little bit. He basically came out of turn 2 and saw that Brad Binder was going pretty slow after his massive moment on the grass, and had nowhere to go, and basically just clipped Brad Binder. And if you've seen the onboard from Brad Binder's bike, he gets an absolute wallop from Sam Lowes, and it was so hard that it actually broke Sam Lowes' handlebar. So yeah, that put him out of the race. So disaster for Sam Lowes. Yeah, big wallop. Big walloper. And then you've got to feel sorry for Marco Bezzecchi as well, because he was starting to show really good signs of coming through the field. He was sitting in 9th, and then he threw up in his helmet halfway through the race. That's why he pulled off. I thought it was a technical issue or a mechanical issue.
It was.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was a bad sushi issue. That's what
Had he been out with you at all, Michael, the night before?
He wouldn't have made it that far through the race. He'd have gone out with me now before, believe me. But that's the second time he's done it as well.
Yeah, he done it in Thailand as well in practice. So,
well, I'm vaguely recalling stories and things about, because when that happened previously, there was a question mark over his long term not maybe fitness is the right, but injury, what like illness, I suppose it would point to if he's keep on having to do it.
I think he just needs to stay off the Asian food. That's clearly what's upsetting him.
All that, yeah.
Just not. His stomach isn't taking well to the local cuisine. So if he stays off that, then he'll be all right.
Been having ice in his drinks, hasn't he? I can vouch. I've done it before myself, and it is not nice. Oh, it's not nice.
I always remember Superbike race number 2 at Brands Hatch when Ruben Zaus clobbered the back of Noriyuki Haga and hit him so hard that actually made him sick in his helmet.
Oh,
so
it's a nightmare trying to find someone to clean your helmet for you after though, because you're like, I am doing it.
You just run it through the tap, don't you? You just might as well just put it in the wash or something. You might as well.
Yeah, let's put a helmet through a wash. You
might as well if it's all full of. I mean, how you can't just stick a sponge in because it's.
Well, that's exactly what they do. They pull the lining out and put a sponge in it, Lester.
Well, yeah, but that's what I mean. Yeah, right. Okay, so yeah, there you go. Sorry, I'm not experienced in cleaning helmets, Giggity.
Washing your.
Pop it down long jet and lob it in on an 80 wash. No.
Washing your helmet with Lester Forbes.
Well, you could soak it though, couldn't you? You could put it in the bath or something. I don't know. I've never cleaned a bloody helmet in my life. What do I know?
There's only one helmet of mine going in the bath.
What
I'm wearing on my head.
Anyway, get well soon and all that to him. Right, moving on.
Sorry,
go on.
Serious journalism.
As long as you don't post it on Facebook, we'll be all right.
Oh, probably has done.
He's already had two cans anyway. Anyway, sorry, Liam. Go on, carry on. What was you saying?
No, that's just done with Moto2 now. So, second way to end the Moto2. Sorry.
Yeah.
Moto3 next. And, it looks like Lorenzo Dalla Porta is going to wrap up the title now that Aaron Canet decided to chuck it away while running in 6th place. So
Can it?
It's gone from... That's number 147 we've had throughout the year for that one. But...
You're just jealous, Michael. You never thought of
it. Yes.
So yeah.
Sorry, so and so threw it away and he's destroyed it and he's a bit depressed.
Yeah,
I'll be back in a second because I didn't watch Moto 3. It won't be a minute.
Well, if we all did that, there'd be no show, would there?
Yeah. Whoa!
So carry on. Go on.
Dalla Porta won the race, his second win of the season. He can wrap it up in Australia. I forgot where we were this weekend, so he could wrap up in Australia as long as he beats Canet by 4 points. Now, the reason it has to be 4 points is because Canet's won 3 races this year. Dalla Porta's won 2. We still have 3 races on the bout, so it'll be 2 more after this weekend. So, yeah, if he beats Canet by 3 points, it'll be 50 points in it, so it'll roll on to Malaysia. So he needs to score 4 more points than Canet, and he's champion for this year, which he could easily do. So, from a few rounds ago, it looked like Dalla Porta was really struggling and letting pressure get to him, and Canet was the one in charge. Now it seems to have flipped the other way around, and now Dalla Porta has really risen to the occasion while Canet has thrown it all away, which is a bit of a shame because Canet was actually shown he was really struggling at Motegi. Now, if you remember watching, if you saw it, he was really struggling to get onto the straights, especially out of turn number 11, down the back straight, down the hill. He was really losing out, and yeah, he was a demon on the brakes, and that's basically what led him to crashing with a few laps remaining because he was just so deep on the brakes, he had to use the brakes to catch back up. And going into the V corner, he just grabbed a bit too much brake, ran a little bit wide, and down he went. So, good thing it left John McPhee in 6th place. So, for Brits, that was positive for John McPhee. He's closing up to 3rd in the championship because all of his championship rivals around him in 3rd place, like Arbolino, fell off during the race. Marcos Ramirez finished behind him. So he's now closing up to 3rd in the championship, which is good news for John McPhee, the wee Scotsman. And Tom Booth Amos, he was actually having a great ride all weekend, really showing some good form, apart from in qualifying when he got a bit of a technical issue, so qualified back down 28th. He gained a bit of ground on the first couple of corners, but clobbered the back of one of the other riders. It looked like it was Chan Onchu, but you never really saw the replay of it, so you don't really know who it was. So coming out of turn 4, he hit the back of another rider. Down he went at 150 miles an hour, I think it was at the time. So, yeah, not great for Tom Booth Amos, but got back up and then crashed again at turn number 1. But continued on, soldiering on like the brave brave man he is. So, good thing is that Tom Booth Amos can take it away from the weekend, is that he was showing good pace, and he just seems to be chipping away at it. So for the final 3 rounds, we can see much more improvements for him.
Okay. Any rumours, or have we heard anything? Do we suspect anything about who's going into Moto 3 for next year? Personally, I've not heard much, but Moto 3 is not really been my focus. Yeah,
Gracini posted Instagram today that they've signed, I think it was Jeremy Alcoba. Just give me 2 seconds, I will double check that one, because I lost it completely. But Gracini has signed... they've gotten rid of Ricardo Rossi for next year, and they have signed, Jeremy Alcoba for next season. So he's currently leading the Moto3 Championship in CEV. So it's a great signing for Gracini, and he's going to partner Gabby Rodrigo again for next season.
Very good.
So that's news of the day for today.
Okay, fair enough. There usually is some sort of news break on when we do this show live on a Thursday, and as I keep on saying that, when after we've relaxed and just come off air for a little bit, and then we find out, some massive bit of news has just broken like 10 seconds before we went on air, and be like, so anyway, I am trying my best to keep up to date with what's happening, and you can chime in with anything as well, Michael, if you have heard any relevant good news or big bits of information, or anything like that. Yeah,
nothing from Moto 3. Nothing from Moto 3.
No, well,
I just didn't watch it this weekend. It's been a funny weekend. So
it was a funny weekend. I was.
To be fair, I did miss it, and literally an hour ago I watched the race. So,
well, I got a last-minute call up being told that we were on tonight, so I've done zero research.
That's so unlike you. That's all. He's usually prepped to the hilt.
Especially in BSB with all the background parties going on. So can't wait to get to BSB news and hear a little bit of that.
I didn't go. I should have gone. That's what I mean. It was a funny weekend.
I thought it was a bit quiet in the paddock, to be honest.
The what?
I thought it was a bit quiet in the paddock, apart from all the arrests going on. But we'll talk about that later.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, well, we're probably best not to talk about that actually.
I was looking forward to it.
if you're a member of the one of the, I think, 18,000+ on the BSB fans Facebook groups, anyway, sort it out amongst yourselves. This is the Superbike Show. It is Motorsport Radio. Hello and welcome. My name is Lester. Liam Hodgins is here, and Michael Howarth is over there. And comments have flooded in. Hello to people tuned in, listening live, from Mr. Sam Lofthouse, Angie Wood. These are just people tuned in who've just liked the stream. Ian Cooper, Liam Hodgins.
I'm pretty sure Sam Lofthouse is a bird, you know.
Kim Hollings also tuned in, and Nigel Mayers also tuned in. Phil Bayliss. Well, everyone knows I get things horrendously wrong, to be honest. I'm not going to feel embarrassed about it, to be honest. I get everyone's names wrong. I don't give a shit.
I didn't realise I was tuned in.
Well, you liked it anyway. Harry Cook has been on. Hello, Harry, whoever you are. He says, Tom Booth Amos deserves a ride in Moto 3. Well, Harry, good news.
Yes, in Moto 3.
Exactly. But for how long? That's what we want to know.
I think it means next year, I think.
Oh, right, yes.
He's sorted for next year, isn't he, Tom? Or is he still waiting to get where it's being placed?
Well, that's what I was asking earlier. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he's still waiting. Yeah. Try to get him on once and never right back.
There's no one else to replace him, though, is there?
Yeah.
Who?
Well, loads of people.
Who?
Well, okay, you ask any young rider, would you like a ride, take over from Booth Amos in Moto 3? None of them are going to say no.
Lester, that's just not how it works, and you know it. What I mean is, there's no one...
Well, it also doesn't work by saying, well, who's going to take over from him?
Well, because of the situation and the reason why Tom Booth Amos is where he is.
Well,
I can't think of a British rider in the Spanish Junior World Championship or one from BSB even, or the British Talent Cup that is there ready to replace him.
Maybe so not for 2020, but...
No, he may well be there next year for the grace of God. And
the There's a few names on the verge.
Tom needs another year. Tom needs another year and has to be given another year, in my eyes. He's backed and he's there for a reason because he's British, and he does need another year to absolutely find his feet and get himself going right. And I think you'll see a different Tom Booth Amos next year. But
we hope so.
That's what I mean. He might be lucky that he stays where he is because there's no one else to take his place at the moment, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay. Yeah, articulated that very well. Well done. Harry Cook's also been on with more comments. He says, Fabio Quartararo is awesome. He's brilliant. Just like Mir and Oliveira. He says he met Oliveira at Silverstone. He's a really nice guy. Fantastic. That's good to know. Any other people whomever you support, let us know. Let us know why as well. Just before we're not talking about BSB just yet, but we do have a poll running on the BSB fans and Facebook group as well. Other Facebook groups are available. But the question is that we're asking tonight on the Superbike show, as Michael takes a swig of
Heineken.
Heineken is the preferred choice for tonight. He's off the cans and he's on the bottles. There you go.
He's trying to be the spokesperson for Heineken in Formula One.
Sponsorships are available. Just get in touch. But we're asking anyway for tonight's question, tonight's poll. Who in BSB provided the best entertainment this season? You would probably think someone like Scott Redding, but he's not leading the poll at the moment. Still lots of time to get your say and comment in. Don't know why. We're just wasting a bit of time here. That's all we're doing. But that's all we're asking. Yeah, I mean, who for you? Not you, but you. Who has provided the best entertainment in BSB this season? And we will get.
I'm guessing you've kept us three out of this.
Well, I'll give you your say later when we get onto the topic, just when we get into the result of the poll. But that was what we call a teaser. To get involved on that poll and have your say and find out who is number one as I speak right now, head to the BSB fans and Facebook group on Facebook, no less. Right, moving on, because there is still a thing called World Superbikes. And, there's been a bit of news break in the past, today I think it was. Was it today? Leon Cavia.
Yeah, it was today.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so it's been speculated for a couple of weeks now, so it's not a massive shock, but he's going to Barney Ducati for 2020, which is great for Leon. And it's good. The Ducati is, as we know, probably the bike to be on, even though Jonathan Ray still wrapped up the championship. But Barney Ducati, not a bad team to ride for at all. And this really surprised me when I saw this. In 10 seasons, it'll be Camir's 7th different manufacturer that he's going to ride for. So he's running for Yamaha.
A bit, isn't he?
Envy Agusta, Aprilia. Yeah, he's a bit. Yeah, I'm not going to say what I was going to say actually, but yeah, he's been around a wee bit. Yeah, you could say it. Yeah. So
it's a shame because since winning the BSB title and the way that he destroyed the field, he's always ended up being on the wrong bike. Well, the right bike at the wrong time, whichever way around. He's like when he rode for Aprilia, everybody knew that his bike was nothing like Max Biaggi's, and then Augusta wasn't just up to speed. Going to Honda, and that bike was just too uncompetitive because they were building for next year. So he's always been on apart from the MV, what you could perceive as a good team, but at the wrong time. And this now, Barney Ducati run share with suspension. I'm pretty sure they don't run all-ins like the factory team. Maybe they can get that changed for next year. Because it seemed to be like a technical exercise where Gigi Delagnos said, right, the factory's on Orleans, I need someone to run on the show. They put Eugene Labitte on Bitubo. So maybe at the end of this year, they might get that thing, they might have a look at it all and say, right, actually, this works better, so let's get on developing the bikes as one. So, yeah, Camia back up the front, I predict next year. But I'm sure everyone else will predict the same and think the same.
Not everyone.
Well, apart from you, Lester, just because you want to be different.
Yeah, he wants to be controversial.
Not wrong. I mean, but different, you know. You get generally better results by being... Anyway, shut up. Right, moving on. Sorry, yes, so World Superbike news.
You've killed them, Lester. Oh my God.
Sorry.
So, Leon Camier joining Barney Ducati. What do you think about that? Good move, right move, best move ever for him? Or is it just another step on his journey as a journeyman in World Superbikes?
I am very surprised that Honda didn't try and keep him. I will say that.
Why?
Because with them bringing out their new bike next year, they're not going to, Keogh's probably not going to be there. Or if he is, I think he's done his work that they wanted him to do this year, and I don't think he needs to be there next year. They've got Bautista. Why not keep Camier and give the team some continuity and something that Bautista can speak to and work from? Leon will know more than anyone else about the new bike, and the new bike coming out will not disappoint. Everyone from Honda, they're in Louth and all over the world that know anything about this new Honda are screaming about it. So it's, unless they just didn't want his services, I'm very surprised they didn't try and keep him.
Maybe they just didn't want his services. Maybe it is just as simple as that. It just kind of, teams...
I reckon his injuries have gone against him for them wanting to keep him on, because he's been outperforming Keogh when he's been fit and when he's been riding, even due to injury. He's been destroying Keogh this year. And I don't know, I just feel like that's kind of gone against him, that he's been so injured. He's been out for a lot of the season, so they've not really had a lot of input from Camier because of his problems. So I think that's kind of gone against him. And to be fair, I don't think for the first season Honda will be brilliant. I think they'll take a year, maybe two, to come up to the front of the grid. So I think Barney Ducati for at least a season, maybe two, will be great for Leon. And I really can't wait to see how he gets on with it, because we know how good Ducati is. And I find it quite weird that that's another tall rider is going to be on a Ducati in World Superbikes next year. You've got Davies, you've got Redding, and now got Leon Camier. So don't know, maybe for tall riders the bike works really well.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard...
Weird wee fact.
Well, I went to get to British Superbikes about that, but yeah, it's at least they've not got a little man like Bautista. Again, it's about the continuity thing. So that may be why the Ducati kind of chased Camier and said, "Listen, we want you on the bike, so we've got three people of equal stature, and Scott as well, so we're supposed four." So yeah,
it's I think it's a really good move for him, and I think he can get his first podium since 2013. He's not scored a podium since back then, which is mental to think of. It's crazy. And I think he was on Suzuki back then when he scored his last podium. I could be wrong with that one, but
that might have been part of the decision as to why the team, if it was a team decision, we don't know. Maybe I don't know. I didn't read the entire press release, but maybe it was the rider's decision.
I think it was. I think Camier wanted to stay with Honda, but I don't think he really felt like they really wanted him, so he looked elsewhere, which is understandable. I mean, if you don't really feel like you're loved 100%, what's the point in staying in that team? And then you better trying it somewhere that will give you what you want. It's not going to be the factory team, obviously, but it's a Ducati. It's the V4 Panigale. In my opinion, it's going to be better than Honda next year, so why not have it?
It's a good thing I don't have a soundboard anymore to do these shows, because I'd be playing Beyonce right now. Just as a...
Why?
It just made me think of, like, if... a song. Anyway. Carry on.
Okay. Yeah. Well, okay.
That's World Superbike's done, isn't it?
But,
not quite.
There has been other news, I hear, on the grapevine, said Leon.
Shock horror.
Crazy. Yeah, Gary Gerloff and Federico Carcazzillo. So Gary Gerloff is racing, or was racing, in Motor America this year with Yamaha, and Carcazzillo is challenging his teammate Randy Krummenacher for the World Supersport title, and they're going to be making their debuts next year in World Superbikes with the GRT squad. So Melandri, we knew, was leaving, was retiring at the end of the year, and it looks like Cortese's out. So got two new people in the team for next year, and that's going to be a really good team. Gary Gerloff, if you have not been watching Motor America, he's been outstanding this year. Hasn't won the championship, finished third, I think, but everyone is singing his praises over there in America at the moment. So he's one to look out for. And then Carcassillo has been rubbing Randy Krummenacher up the wrong way in World Supersport the last couple of rounds. And yeah, he's still only 23 years of age, so he's got a bright future ahead of him. So it's going to be it's going to be good to see how they get on next year. And it's good to have a fast American back in World Superbikes. So we're missing that for a couple of years now.
Yeah, I spoke to a former World Superbike champion from the USA about this kid, and he rates him to death. He says he's the one that will come over and actually do something. So yeah, I take his word. Yeah, this kid could be very special. And I think they don't want him to win Moto America now, like stay there for another season. They want to get him into Europe and get him working and get him riding. So, and that's now Moto America is so much more like a proper superbike again. You're not having that deficit of coming off a glorified super stock bike and having to go and ride a 600 for a season. You can now come from America again and step right onto a world superbike or a British superbike. So the Moto America format is finally working again, even though it's not perceived as a great championship just yet. But that, some of the MAA races of old used to be really good. And I haven't watched any of the Moto America stuff because it's not been promoted very well over here. But the format seems to be working and doing its job for getting riders over to Europe. So that's a good thing.
I've been keeping an eye on it in the last couple of seasons, and it's been really good fun to watch. You got Tony Elias over there, and he's won the championship and challenged for it every single year that he's been there. So it's good to have a big name like that pushing the championship along. And I believe the last 3 rounds of this season were actually shown on Eurosport, but like a week after the event. So if you switched over to Eurosport, you would have seen it. But the racing's been absolutely fantastic over there in the last couple of seasons. Really hard stuff. And yeah, Garrett Gerloff, as Michael said, he is the real deal. And Freddie Spencer, who's been commentating over in the Moto America stuff, really rates him as well. So yeah, could be the best rookie. I've got to use the term correctly. In World Superbikes since Ben Spies from the US of A.
Okay. And just as I asked earlier about whether we know of any rumours or heard anything on the grapevine in Moto 3, anything about World Superbikes or the Super Sports? Do we know any Brits considering making a move? I know at this point of the year when everyone's got loads of options, yada yada, it all depends on money. But is there anyone in particular that we've heard of? I don't know.
Xavi Flores still tipped to go there, isn't he?
Is he?
Yeah.
There's his name's been banded around going to Superbikes or Super Sport in the last couple of weeks, but then his name's been banded around going to staying in BSB. So yeah, don't know. I know the BSB fan or the fan page has been throwing his name around a bit to see where it's going to go. So it's all up in there. It's funny you mentioned that, Lester, because apparently Storm Stacey, who was challenger for the Stock 600 Championship in BSB this year, is looking to potentially make his way to World Super Sport, potentially the Super Sport 300 class. So
interesting. Okay, we did hear from Brent on the show last week, and he was very, very keen to keep hold of Storm Stacey, who was a bit of a revelation in the second half or towards the end of the Stock 600 in the BSB paddock, and put on a nail-biting performance on Sunday. Almost, he was actually leading the championship for a couple of laps until such time when he wasn't. Storm Stacey, maybe it just goes to the thing about just saying, well, at this point in time, anyone who's impressed at the last round or the past couple of rounds has options. But it would be interesting to see if he does move away from the Stealth Connect bike and the GR Motorsport team to maybe do something on the world stage, like you say, maybe World Super Sport. Personally, I don't know. I think maybe he's got more to achieve, by staying in the UK, winning a championship.
I think he should go to the World Series because he's brilliant. He's a brilliant rider, and I remember a couple of seasons ago when he was in Moto 3, he was the hot tip. Everyone was like, "Look at this kid. He's going to be the next big thing," and you just don't lose that. And this season's been sort of a comeback for him in many ways.
I mean, nothing's
he's got
ever guaranteed.
He's got the right attitude, and I reckon he would thrive on the world stage. And I think either I would prefer to see him go Moto3 route instead of like the Super Sports 300. But then it's at least the world stage, and it's getting his name out there a bit more, which is great. So I'm all for Storm Stacey potentially going to World Super Sport or the Super Sport 300 class.
Your thoughts, Michael?
I think it's there's so many arguments for and against him going. If he's going to go and he's going on the 300, I'm guessing he's doing it for the year to get experience in the circuits. And then to move into Super Sport or across the Moto2.
That's if he's going at all.
That's if he's going at all, of course. But Storm Stacey Moto3, Storm's just too big. He's too big for Moto3. And doesn't he? If he went to the MotoGP paddock, he doesn't need a year on the Moto3. He's just too big. It'd just be too much aggro for him. So maybe he's going to be. If he went to the 300 series, is he trying to get noticed so that the MotoGP teams will have a look at him and see what he's riding like around the world? But to be honest, if it was me and I was riding for Brent Gladwin and knowing what Brent Gladwin's capable of with his riders, if Brent wants me to stay in Super Sport, move up to Super Sport and stay in Britain for another year, it'd be where I'd be going. It'd be where I'd be staying for sure.
Well, I think going back to last week's interview, anyway, he did say, I think on this show, if I'm right in remembering, that maybe he wants Storm to stay with the team, maybe do a stock 1,000 ride next year, but he definitely wants the current lineup to stay. He did say that, and even Claudio Corti, but at this stage, as we've not heard anything, I guess nothing's been agreed. But that is a possibility, and that's I suppose why we mention it, because not to take anything away from any of the other riders who also performed brilliantly and also have other options. But I suppose Storm in particular would be one of a few different names who could go, like you say, to Supersport 300 just to maybe learn some tracks and give him a better platform for 2021, maybe. Who knows?
It's very easy to get lost in that class because there's over 30 riders per weekend trying to qualify, and I mean it's even more nuts than Moto3 is these days. It's absolutely outrageous, the class, and you've got a lot of great riders in the Super Sport 300, so it'd be easier to think that Storm could go in and just demolish them, but you've got a lot of young, hungry riders that are trying to impress the MotoGP paddock as well, so nothing set in stone. I think he would do very well over there, but as Michael's saying, I think he'd be better on a bigger bike.
Well, Nancy Tunnel has been in touch. Hello, good evening, Nancy. It says, Storm should stay put and win next year. Which I think I'm right in saying we can all...
Nancy. Wise words.
Yeah, why not? Stay put, actually win something, and if only for the selfish fact that it'll be shown on Eurosport and we'll get to see it as opposed to somewhere else. But anyway, so your thoughts on the possibility of that, or anyone else that we've not mentioned, anyone else that you might have heard a rumour about, or if you yourself are considering, and you're a rider, considering various options and you want to slide some news right into our DMs, go ahead. We're all always waiting to get some news from riders. A lot of stuff that you hear in the paddock you can't really repeat. I'm sure, as you know, Michael, thank you very much for giving us that view. It's anyway, we'll get on to BSB rumours and stuff a bit later, and your comments and thoughts as well, particularly Liam, about who you think has provided the best entertainment in BSB this season. There's a poll running right now during the show. If you're listening to the download of the show, then there might still not be that poll running, yada yada. Anyway, but do check out the BSB Support Classes Fans Facebook group, join up there and have a go. Ashley Bryant has been in touch. Hello, good evening, Ashley, saying he can't get top 5 in stock 6, have to move up. Presumably he's talking about what we were just talking about, Storm Stacey, says Ashley. Interesting. Anyway, that's a conversation that will roll on no doubt. But are we done with World Superbike news, Liam?
Yeah, there's not too much. I believe, it's all done and dusted. World Superbikes is a bit quiet this week compared to what it was last week. So after all the controversy surrounding the track conditions in Argentina, so yeah, it's all done and dusted for this week at the moment. But then again, it's Tuesday, so we'll probably have a lot more news coming out in the next coming days. Indeed.
Right, so we will get on to talking about lots of other things. As we say, BSB support classes coming up. Your comments still flooding in, and we will eventually find out just how many beers Michael Howarth has consumed next.
The Superbike Show on Motorsport Radio.
I'm Ryan Vickers. Hi, I'm Ben Curry.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Ray from the Kawasaki Racing Team, and you're listening to Motorsport Radio.
And there's another one. It is number 8 now. 5. What's it? What are you up to now, Michael?
No, I'm still on the first one, to be fair.
Oh, okay. Right. I'm jumping the gun a bit. Apologies. But anyway, I'm only jealous because badly prepped. I have no beers.
I'm just not sorry, Lester. This will be one of the last ones of the year, won't it? So I'm just not sorry. I can't.
Fair enough.
Going out in style.
Going down in a blaze of alcohol.
Suds.
Anyway, it is the Superbike Show. This is Motorsport Radio. Hello and welcome. If you've never heard us before, or even watched us, because we do visual radio, by the way. Two of the three of us as a face for radio, and then there's Michael Howarth. Hey!
Who definitely has a face for radio. Hi.
Anyway,
I just don't get why Liam wears lipstick for each show, though. Does he?
Oh,
can't
come
see
on.
it?
I keep forgetting to wipe it off. That's what it is.
Yeah, they keep stealing my t-shirts.
Just try to look pretty for once.
Anyway, so BSB. And, well, did we ever doubt it? Really, honestly, Scott Redding, the champion, did look a bit wobbly on the Saturday and Sunday, but some Scott Redding diehard fans might say, yes, no, he always meant to take it down to the wire, down to the line, and he did pretty much almost kind of just that, wrapping up the championship without too much drama in BSB at Brands Hatch on the Sunday. And wow, what a weekend, what a season, Michael.
Absolutely. You've got to take your hat off to Scott, because a lot of people,
go on then,
one DOS, one cap, said, that he'd struggled at British circuits. He's not been a great advocate of some of the British circuits in the past, saying that some of them are scary and a bit sketchy. I think the only one place where a result defined the fact that the track was scaring him slightly this year was one of the first rounds at Alton Park when he finished 6th, because he just said it was just wild, it was wild, but then redeemed himself from there. Ended up loving Cadwell, crazy track. I think you've got to give credit to Paul Bird for thinking that he needed Josh Brooks in the team, because if Scott didn't win the title, Josh Brooks was going to, and he got his 1-2 just the other way around to what. Well, I personally thought that it would take Scott 2 years to win the championship, but I think Ducati signing him in World Superbike so early on in the year was a good move, because he knew he was settled for next year, he knew he was moving up. So then he could even relax and actually really enjoy BSB.
You think that took the pressure off him?
If you won it or not. So yeah, hats off to Birdie, hats off to the PBM squad. Just a mega season, weren't it, really? That some people are barking on about being the Ducati Cup and boring, but I disagree. I think with the likes of Danny Buchan winning up at Knockhill and wherever else, and just basically every rider that I predicted wouldn't do great has done great. So don't listen to Michael Howarth, basically. There
you go. I did, for what it's worth, I don't know if I said he'd win definitely this season, but I did believe he would not do as badly as other people said he might, even though he has, or did have.
That's not even an answer, Lester, is it? He might do all right, he might not, he might be better.
Well, to be honest, I can't remember what the hell I said. I might have just said one thing.
You said nothing.
No, I didn't say nothing. I definitely said something, and
at least I had the balls to say I thought Josh Brooks would win it and Scott would win it next year.
I'm pretty sure
I made up for Scott because he's a mate. So
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I predicted Jason O'Halloran for the championship this year after testing.
yeah, well,
There's always one. No offense, Jason. There you go. But
There's always next year.
Did you get your pre-season predictions right, like me? Yeah, just because I can't remember what the hell I said, to be honest. Let's go back to the first show of the season. But no, I did think, even though he was coming into the season with less experience on these British tracks, because he'd not had anywhere near, and he hadn't had the bike or anything. So, but on the bigger tracks, like the Grand Prix circuits where he had the experience, I knew that he would go well, and everything else just seemed to click into place. So that is kind of what happened anyway. It wasn't an outright domination of the season. Other people did do better than him at times, but I thought he would be in there with definitely a better chance of winning the championship than certainly Michael Howarth said anyway.
Yeah. But that's what I mean. Everyone seems to be thinking that it was just like the Ducati Cup this year and an old Ducati series, and it really wasn't. You look back to the start of the season.
Well, that says more about other teams, though, doesn't it?
You what, sorry?
That says more about what other teams have not done or not succeeded at.
Well, no, but I disagree, because I think they did achieve a lot. I think, like Josh Elliott winning at the first round, and Danny Buchan bringing FS3 to the fore and winning, and other riders doing well. No, I just think that, yes, the last couple of rounds where it went down to the top three in the showdown, they were almost allowed to get on with it. So it did look a little bit like it was the Ducatis were dominating everything. But Ducatis haven't dominated that series this season completely. Or there's people barking about tweaking the rules next year, or someone even wanted to ban the Ducatis, which is ridiculous. But no, I think the format works again.
Who was it on? No, was it on the BSB and fans Facebook group? A lot of nonsense gets said on there, to be honest. Hello.
If you want to find it, I think I replied and give him death.
I'm pretty sure I saw that, and I was lying in bed just going, "This is comedy gold."
Yeah.
Yeah, them admins should sort that group out. Damn admins. Anyway, moving on.
Don't do their jobs.
But there was a lot of rumours, to be honest. Surprising rumours. I don't know if because a lot of people came on the BSB and Sport Classes fans Facebook group, and immediately, I don't know if they were trolling or just trying to get some sort of reaction because they were lonely, but they did get a reaction, talking specifically about Ryan Vickers and suggesting that he had not had as good a season, but considering he came right up from 600 last year, I think he actually did a lot better. No, he definitely did a lot better than people's expectations, which were basically none, to be honest. So some people, I mean, yes, he's had a steep learning curve, but going into next year, he'll have all of that experience plus more. He'll be at a distinct advantage versus, you might think anyway, versus other new people of his same age, maybe.
Well, yeah, he had some outstanding rides, particularly at the start of the season, and I think we predicted on the show at the start of the year, Lester, that we thought it was a bit too early for him. He was a bit too young, and he proved us completely wrong.
Well, I don't know if we said that, but we did question whether it might be.
Yeah, he was coming up from 600, and they just challenged for the championship with Jake Dixon the previous year, the team. So it was a tall ask, and I think Ryan Vickers done a great job all year, and he really didn't. I think he should go away from this season and hold his head high, because what he done this year was absolutely fantastic for someone that's come up from 600 Superstock, completely missed 1,000 Superstock and Supersport, and went on to challenge some of the best riders in Britain in the Superbike class. And there's not a lot of riders that could do that, and Ryan Vickers done a great job all season. And next year, if he sticks with the team, which I think he is, it's not been announced yet. Next year there. So he's got that learning year under his belt, and top 5, I would say that he's going to go for the showdown positions next year. He's a great talent, and he's done a great job all year, as I've said a million times.
Okay. Yeah, he definitely is a big talent for sure, and remains to be that. Whatever people's opinion of him are, the team believe in him, and why not? Indeed, Michael, you've got your arms crossed. It usually means something negative.
No. I think when he got announced that they were signing him last year, it was a very, very, very bold move from Lee to sign a kid from 600s like that. You could see he was obviously a talent, but Lee had come from being second in the championship last year with his RF reserve squad to taking on a kid that's never rode a big bike, but he believed in him, put him on it. He did all right in testing. Then, like you say, he's had some big crashes this season, almost to be expected. But then some of the results, like you say, has been outstanding. And if he didn't get the ride for next year, that would have been more upsetting than him getting the ride in the first place. You know what I mean? Because people were saying, "Oh, there's other people deserving of this ride and this, that, and the other." But Lee saw something, and he's been proved right. And I think it's like you say. I think Ryan's target next season has got to be top 6. It's got to be a showdown spot, and I think he's more than capable of it. I think he's a fantastic little rider that you won't see him staying riding in Britain for too long. I think he'll get snapped up elsewhere.
Well, Dave Tyson's been on. Hello, Dave. Thanks for tuning in. And he says,
"Hi, Dave."
He says, Dave, the best teams with the best riders finish at the top. Simple.
Can you ask him where my email is, please?
You can ask him yourself.
Dave, where's my email that were being sent last week?
Yeah, Dave. Well, I don't know what he's talking about.
Check your spam. Come on, Dave.
I ain't got a clue whatever it is, but sort that out between yourselves. Hello, anyway, Dave. He says hi again, other people tune in. I don't want to sort of be rude and sort of ignore people if you've made the effort to tune in. Well, made the effort. I suppose you're just sitting around on Facebook, aren't you? But made the effort, click play, and then a big hello to Tony Morris as well. Sometimes regular listen. Dave Tyson says fringe. Okay, that means something to you, Michael. What's that mean? Go on. Insider joke.
Just send me the email. He knows what I'm on about. Just send the email, please.
So, developing story right here. Michael Howarth to ride on Dave Tyson's bike.
Oh, I'd love to say it was something really exciting, but it's not even to do with racing. But the liquor he just won't send it.
Amazing, thank you.
Yeah, sorry.
Amazing, fantastic. Hi, Dave. Thanks for tuning in. Anyway, what was we talking about? Oh yeah, Ryan Vickers doing really well. Some say, we say that, others don't, but we think they were just trolling for attention because they're lonely. But do get in touch.
Please
get in touch.
Tell us how wrong we are.
You can do so if you disagree with anything. You are allowed to say so. You know what we say isn't gospel, believe it or not, and I am not the authority on BSB, believe it or not.
Believe it or not. Well, we've still got Tubbs on the line. I mean, Dave Tyson.
Hi, Dave.
I think when he came in this year with MV Augusta and kind of got laughed at a little bit, and people are going to look at what the results he hasn't had in the bike, having little bits of fault system that. I just want to say fair play to Dave for coming in and having to go halfway through the season when BSB is so strong and trying to get a bike to run that wasn't on the electronics it was built to be used, so they've had to have looms and everything made. And anyone that thinks that team didn't put 1,000,000% into it and didn't give it the best shot, and if they stay in the paddock next year that bike or themselves wouldn't be competitive, are very wrong. I just say hats off.
And fair play as well for I mean, it didn't turn out the right way, but that definitely wasn't Dave's fault, for getting Danny Kent on the bike as well, albeit for I think 2 rounds anyway, before one round anyway.
Yes, I knew you were going to bring that up.
What, Danny Kent?
Yeah.
It happened. It was a thing, you know.
It did.
But yeah, no, just forgetting that.
We've discussed it, so let's just move on from it. We don't need to go on about that.
Fair enough. Anyway, Dave's been back in touch and says, cheers, Nobby. to what I guess that's aimed at you, Michael. But anyway, you should come on the show, Dave. Don't know why we're like having this like little conversation.
Get him to ring in now and I'll go. Because he'll have all the gossip, he'll know stuff.
I'm half tempted, actually, Dave. If you're on if you're on Skype and you fancy it, drop me a message. Anyway, moving on to other BSB news while we sort that out in the background. Liam?
Yes? Hiya.
BSB?
Yeah, oh, sorry. I thought you were just going to announce something there.
No.
Yeah, so... Where do we get up to again? Yeah, obviously to talk about
Scott Redding. We got
Vickers.
as far as Scott winning.
Scott Redding, yeah, there we go. Scott Redding, the man of the moment, the man of the year. And surprisingly, Paul Bird's team got their first ever 1-2 finish in a championship, which surprised the hell out of me when I read it. So, yeah, it's the first ever time that they've had a 1-2 in a championship. So,
okay,
which is
surprising.
Quite something. But good news for Hickman fans. I know Peter Hickman is a favourite around about the BSB paddock. Smith's Racing has re-signed him for next year, and they've also signed Alex Olsen for 2020. So that's going to be an exciting lineup for the series. So BSB 2020 is shaping up really nicely at the moment. I'm really looking forward to it. Who will become the second rider for Paul Bird Motorsport? Lester, you were there with prying eyes at the weekend around Brands Hatch. I don't know if you saw anything. Was Leon Haslam there at all?
Well, what I saw was Leon Haslam wearing a similarly coloured, big, massive, huge jacket. I mean, you couldn't miss this. I mean, it was like one of them, massive, big sort of puffy out type jacket type things.
So beating around the bush, let's get there.
It wasn't obviously if you're trying to hide away in the paddock, you don't turn up wearing a Ducati red massive size jacket. But I saw him having a chat with him, and he was probably just congratulating Scott Redding on taking the title away from him, or the transfer, the official transfer of the BSB Championship. But yeah, no, I did see him in there. Having a chat with some of the guys. That's all I'm saying.
So your exclusive is Leon Haslam went to Brands Hatch in a big jacket.
You heard it here first, folks.
You heard it here first. That's it.
Well, Lester was like, "Oh, he's wearing red. He's going to be to Ducati next year. That's where he's going."
Yeah, and he was also talking to some of the Paul Bird guys as well.
It's so difficult to kind of break that down and see, because Birdie and Leon are such good friends.
Yeah.
Anyway, they were talking to each other at Donington, so it's obviously going to set the rumour mill going. But
well, it did.
Well, yeah, but we still don't know about the Pete Excellence thing. We still don't know about this Leon and his one-man team thing. We don't know if Kawasaki are keen to keep Leon or whether they've decided to let him go and give him his year in World Superbikes. That's kind of the end of him being a Kawasaki contracted rider. I know that Leon, he loves doing the Suzuka 8 hour, and I think he's always done that with Kawasaki's and the like, so that he could get that factory ride. But if he thinks now his time in World Superbikes has come to an end, maybe he's pushing for the Paul Bird Ducati ride, and he can spend the next 4 or 5 years in BSB winning titles, and then maybe call it a day. So it's such a tough one to call. But now with Camille staying in World Superbikes, who else is Paul Bird going to really sign that can kind of fill Scott's shoes?
Exactly. Who else is there?
It's a tough one. I mean, you've got to think that Josh Brooks would be favourite to win the title next year if Leon Haslam didn't come back. But if Leon wasn't on a Ducati, would Josh be worried? I think Josh would be. Are we thinking that he'll have some competition again next year and he'll have to, ride at 110% if Leon Haslam comes back on the Ducati? But yeah, it's whichever way I say it, it'll be other way around. So I'll say that Leon's not going to sign for Ducati. Then on Wednesday, when he's signed for Ducati, everyone will be happy.
Well, Tony Morris has just been on touch. Hello, good evening, Tony. Welcome back.
Evening, Tony.
And he says something about a rumour that we'd heard previously regarding a Mr. Brad Ray. He had been linked previously, not by ourselves. We were just repeating the rumour that we'd heard on the on the Facebook group. Brad Ray to Paul Bird. What do you reckon, Michael Howarth? Now, before I'll let you answer that, there was also another rumour connected with Brad Ray, or Brad Ray connected with another rumour, suggesting heavily that he's on his way to Tyco. But, as Michael Howarth's heard, and this is just another rumour again, what did you suggest to us just before we came on air?
I love how you've dropped me right in. Like this could be a complete fallacy. And if it is, then I know that I'll be getting messages when I get off my phone of certain people. But apparently, the Brad Ray going to Tyco may be true. And Brad Ray going to PBM may also be true. So you put the three together.
So what you're saying is
how
that
I'm going to leave it.
So that Paul, but with the Be Wiser leaving, as everyone knows, Paul Bird's looking for a new partner, a new sponsor, new team, that side of things. So effectively, what you're saying is that it could be the case.
I've said nothing. I've told you what I've just said. That's it. I'm not involved in this conversation anymore. Don't quote me. Don't even say I said it. You tell them, Lester.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no one's tuned in. Don't worry about that. So there could be the case. We're in a world now where it could actually happen where Paul Bird or Tyco Paul Bird, Tyco could be with the Paul Bird Ducati. Is that beyond the realms of possibility? Why won't? Okay, let's think of it another way. Why wouldn't that happen?
Yeah, exactly. We've seen it before where a title sponsor has moved to another team with HM Plant. They used to be with GC Ducati.
I mean, it would mean effectively that if they did do that, and we're just completely just throwing rumours around, and we might all just have egg on our faces, especially Michael. But if Tyco did leave the Taz team, then presumably that would leave them in not the best position to continue next year. Yeah,
and we know that Christian Evans leaving. And I think let's just move away from that because I just know I'm just going to get a lot of aggro for it, and it genuinely is just something that someone heard of someone else. So I cannot.
Yeah, I mean,
but yeah, we were on about Christian Eden, weren't we, a couple of shows ago, that a change would be as good as a rest for him. So, and I don't know where Christian's going next year at all, but I personally think it's the best move he's ever going to make in BSB. And you want to know about someone fighting for the title next year? I'll have an outside bet on Christian Eden.
Well, Ashley Bryant has been back in touch. He suggested Brad Ray on the Tyco, maybe Ducati or BMW, whatever it ends up being. But basically, a direct switch, Eden and Ray. That could happen. That's
would be interesting.
Yeah. And I've not heard anything to say that won't happen. I mean, in some ways, it's the team's own fault for leaving us to be able to speculate and fill 2 hours of a week, you know? Because at this stage, I think last year, there were only like a couple of rides available at this point. But there seems to be a couple more.
I love that. It's the team's fault.
Yeah, well, it is.
You need to come out and blaming the teams.
You need to come on the show and tell us what's happening.
You know what the panic's like with rumours and stuff. So you know we can't get shot. But it's just it was a very strange way that there's a lot of people saying that Brad Ray's going to one thing, and then someone said something about another thing, and
because I've got the quote.
It seems to fit, doesn't it?
I've got the quote from Brad Ray here somewhere. If I try and find it, and I think we pulled it as a specific social. Oh, he's off again.
Is that the one we've done at Killfab?
Yes, Brad Ray done an interview with Motorsport Radio. Oh, he's definitely gone. Talking about, he was heaping praise on the Ducati bike, not necessarily on Paul Bird.
Well,
Motorsport,
I mean, who wouldn't? Because
who
the
wouldn't?
of the season.
It just seemed a bit
maybe
interesting.
It was just praise.
That I don't know. I can't find the actual quote. Oh, maybe I did actually. Oh yeah, maybe I can find it here. Let me see.
I do remember him. I do remember him sort of dancing around the bush of the Ducati rumours. But
all right, well, see what you make of this. Anyway, this is presuming this is right in the middle of contract negotiations with whatever team, and Brad Ray comes out with this.
I think there's a lot of potential there with Suzuki, not just in BSB, but maybe in World Championship at some point. Obviously, we've had good links with Suzuki Japan doing the 8 hour the last 2 years. So Suzuki have been quite good to me. So we'll just have to see what these next few rounds entail and make a decision on what we're going to do.
And it was in that same interview where he also mentioned, as I say, about just how good the Ducati bike is, which it is definitely. But just you could just tell when he gave that. That was only a few weeks ago, really. That it was definitely contract negotiation time, and also that the team as well, the Taiko, didn't they used to be with Suzuki as well? A while
they
ago?
did, yes.
Yeah.
But they were still part of the same squad, the TAS Suzuki squad, as they were at the time. So they've been with that squad for a while. When they jumped to BMWs, they went with them. So yeah, it's
because it was build
BSB. It's great fun to try and speculate where everyone's going in BSB. But you're never going to be 100% right.
You know, as Philip Neal and Hector Neal kind of it might be them that's decided to call it a day. And had enough of the BSB circus and just not be bothered for it. Maybe want to just go back and concentrate on the roads. It's not, you know, it could be something as simple as that. But we shall see. We'll get shot to death when we're completely wrong.
Well, let's just say, for argument's sake, and we're not saying this is definitely going to happen, but for argument's sake, let's say the Neils are calling it a day and the Taz team are stepping down, doing a Pete Extons effectively and just stepping back a bit from BSB at least. What would that mean for the team? Would it be taken over? Would we have a new team in there? Would we have fewer teams in BSB? What's most likely to happen?
Well, it all depends on, you know, let's just say Taz wanted to have a break from BSB or just wanted to go back to Ireland and concentrate on the roads. So they wouldn't have a lot to kind of really sell as such. They'd probably keep the bikes they've got there. The BMW is a good bike. They're just kind of developing that, may become, you know, like the factory roads team. Although with the young Hickman, young Baldy staying at Smith's, you think they'd be the preferred team over at the TT and stuff. So, yeah, there'd be a space to fill, but I don't know I've not heard of anybody moving up from, you know, a team moving up from Super Sport or Super Stock to fill their space. So, you'd probably just find that you'd end up with a couple of riders less.
Yeah, maybe. Dave Tyson's been back in touch, and I rather suspect he might already know the answer to his own question, but he asks anyway. Who's the big name then to replace Redding?
Well, we've kind of speculated already, haven't we?
Well, yeah, where have you been? We just did like 10 minutes on that. But we'll leave that as an open question just because we've already been over that and done that. Tony Morris, been back in touch. Amazingly, he's still tuned in. He's not sick of me already. It says Jack Kennedy, Dan Linfoot to Santander Salt Tag Racing. That does me. Is that a winky face, I think? Tony Morris.
It is, yeah.
Of all the people who should know, it would be Tony Morris. So there you go.
Well, that's already been confirmed. That was confirmed a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, exactly. It's already been confirmed, Tony.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, I think that kind of brings us on nicely to another news or rumour that was kind of highlighted on Eurosport. I didn't see it myself, but I was told this, that with Jack Kennedy moving up to BSB with Santander Salt, that Rory Skinner is looking to be his replacement in Colin Appleyard's team. So
I think that was confirmed.
It was confirmed, yeah. So since I didn't see it myself, I was a bit sceptical if it was confirmed or not. So
yeah.
So I guess so. I was at work at the time when that was played, so I missed the interview and only saw the BSB race.
All right, this is a bit of I'm going to overhype this, which is very unlike me. This is a bit of hot gossip, just rolled in off the Facebook press. Dave Tyson suggests, rather, potentially cheekily, or rather truthfully. He says, lots of talk, I suppose he's going on to say. He says, lots around Xavier Simeone. He's been around the paddock. Says,
really?
Suggests Dave Tyson. Why is that interesting? Go on.
Well, just because, one, Xavier Simeone has got an awful lot of money to bring with him, if needed.
Interesting.
And two, I said it when he was in MotoGP and everyone was slagging him. Xavier Simeone is not slow. You bring that kid to BSB, and we know Scott Redding's had podiums in MotoGP and such, and Xavier, he was on an awful bike when he got that year in MotoGP, and it was well documented. Sorry, that he paid a fortune for the ride, but so what? If Xavier Simeone comes to BSB, he will be fast.
But if he's got a load of money, as you say, why would he come to BSB? Surely, if he's got that much money, other opportunities would be open for him.
I'm just saying that he could, if he wanted to buy his way into BSB, he could, because, excuse me, after the year in MotoGP that he had, where he, the team didn't, it just didn't get looked after right. So would he, to come even into BSB, would he have to bring a little sweetener for a team with him, or bring his sponsor with him, or whatever? But no, if I was a BSB boss, team boss, I would be looking at him seriously for a ride, and not just they may have to pay him a wage. That may be, but I'm just saying that he's got the right ingredients. He's got money to bring, and that kid will go fast on British circuits from the word go. He won't be like Hector Barbera that had a decent round at Donington and we've seen nothing of him. I guarantee that Simeone will go fast in Britain.
Would he make the MV go fast?
Well, I don't know. Unless Dave's going to text me and tell me something, I don't know. But
well, he's on the chat anyways. He's tuned in live. Why don't you just tell us? Have you been in touch with him, or has he been in touch with?
I've been in touch with Dave. No.
No, I mean, has Dave been in touch with Xavier? Has his people been talking to their people?
Not being funny, but I live in Yorkshire, and Dave Tyson lives somewhere damn safe near France. I don't have that much contact with him to know what he's doing with his riders.
Oh, well. I suppose if anyone can tell us, it would be Dave. So
well, it'd be Dave, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us then, Dave.
I'm pretty sure he's just having fun on the comment section, just trolling us a little bit. Because I've been keeping an eye on the comments as well, and he's just like, I throw names out there. It's like, this is good fun to watch them sweat.
Well,
is it? All right, Tyson.
There you go. That's the official word from Michael Howarth there. Comments rolling in, reacting to what we've been reacting to, or basically we might have just been trolled by Dave Tyson, who's probably just pissing himself laughing right now.
Well, even if he was trolling and saying that, I still think Simeone would do well in this country. I really do. People forget that he's been a good rider throughout most of his career and did all right in endurance last year and stuff. That boy is not a mug. He just got a crap bike in MotoGP. Still did quite respect him when he looked at some of the times he could do.
I weirdly enough bumped into Xavier Simeone's uncle at Valencia last year when the British Talent Cup was on, and we were just chatting away to him for ages, and he said that I think I asked him the question. It was something didn't to do with British Superbikes, and he said it could potentially be something that Xavier would consider one day, but that's not what he's looking for at the moment. But then you never know. It's a year down the line.
It's going to be better than running a chocolate shop in Andorra, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which is what he does at the minute.
Oh, right. Okay. I thought I'd no idea, to be honest. I don't know what the hell that was about.
I bet it's really good chocolate, though.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, moving on. Dave's been back in touch. He says that Xavier has been to various BSB rounds this year to watch. Interesting how he would know that. And apparently he's been doing Electric Grand Prix or whatever the Moto E thing.
Moto E, yeah. He's been doing that this year.
And insurance, so needs something. Redding's proved the series is great for people to come to of the world-class level, obviously. And it's a possible shout. I don't know if you do actually know something, Dave.
He won't tell you now.
He might. He'll probably tell us after the show.
Not now he thinks he's winding us up, because he'll continue to wind us up.
I don't know what to believe anymore. But anyway, I think we are at that stage, definitely, of the season where a lot of things could happen. If you've not announced something for next year, you're being linked with everywhere. Everyone's going everywhere, and even Xavier Simeon's going to like every team. Even he might even be on the MV. So that's how. I'll be getting linked somewhere next. Yeah. So what?
That's how silly it is.
Yeah, and Dave's just said no. He didn't say anything about that. But anyway, no. Seriously though, what are you? I mean, are you? Is there any prospect of you? But
I'm training my backside off, but we are coming up to that bit of winter where I do get a bit of time off, which is why I am enjoying a beer. And if something happens, great. And if it doesn't, then I'll stop training and I will do a lot more of this in other places and on here and that's
so
it. And
episode 1 next year then.
I can't say anymore. I just know that I'm working on something, but even I don't know yet, and that is the God's honest truth. That's the God's honest truth. I'm working on something, and if it happens, great, and if it doesn't, then back to Motorsport Radio and Heineken.
Wow. As if that's not your first destination for hot gossip and breaking news. Exactly. So, but yeah.
Breaking news. Always got no idea.
Yeah. Episode number 1 of 2020. He's surrounded by pizza boxes and chocolate and stuff. So that'll signal that he's actually not got anything anywhere.
Like the scene off The Nutty Professor, when I'm just sat there 25 stone, like, wow, that happened.
I mean, it happened. We all used to be slim. Anyway. So yeah, what we were talking about again? Scott Redding, yeah, he won. Well done, Scott Redding. And then we got sidetracked quite a lot. But Leon Haslam was spotted in the paddock wearing a coat, and that's when we decided that Xavier Simeon's going to come in. And then I think we'd previously said that Haslam was going to run or co-own a team, which might have been Bournemouth Kawasaki. That's what we did mention previously. No news on that. But even if we have seen the last of the extenses, as Bournemouth Kawasaki, as it currently stands, because let's not forget that up until Sunday they were the reigning BSB champions, so I suppose a bittersweet weekend for Bournemouth Kawasaki, and you have to sort of applaud everything that team has done, and the family and the excellencies, and Pete and Dale as well, and Julie and everything that they've brought to BSB. So even if we don't see them again, it's been fantastic knowing you guys, and I've got to know the team as well, because they were involved with Cool Fab, and they ran a mini BSB team when in Cool Fab Racing, the British Mini Bikes Championship. And I got to sort of hang around get to know some of the guys in 2016-17 as well. Shame to see them go, ultimately, if they are going. They've not officially said what they are definitely doing, but they're not going to be the official Kawasaki team for next year, which we know that will be FS3. And Gary's been in touch, and he suggested the return of Shane Byrne. Well, no, to be honest. Yeah. I mean, since his hair transplant. I mean, since his accident.
That's a bit savage, Lester.
I never said anything. Look, World Superbikes posted a picture, it might have actually been Kiko, of a 2009 grid pick where they where they all grid together. 2009 versus like 2019 or something like that. Can you identify the riders that were around in World Superbikes in 2009? I think it was, or 08, or whenever he was there. And Shane Byrne, I was like, oh yeah, it's Shane Byrne, 2009. And I'm like, wow, he looks a bit different. What? Hang on, he's got more hair today than he did in 2009. What the hell? Anyway, just saying.
That's a disgusting rumour.
I'm in no position to say anything about.
But it was 2009, because in 2008 we had the picture done at BSB at Snetters, I think it was, and he had a bit more hair then.
Oh, okay.
And he went to World Superbikes and that Stella Grada bike and seemed to lose a bit, but now it's all back.
Yeah. I mean, that's what a better time does for you.
You never know what could happen, Liam.
Yeah. I mean, a better time off is a good thing. Your hair goes back.
He's not rubbing his hair on his helmet all the time now, is he? So you know. Go back.
Okay. It's an image. Anyway. Comments flooding in as people take to Facebook as they realise there's not much telly on at the moment. Chelsea's been in touch, says, as much as I dislike Howarth, he's a better commentator than most.
My goodness. Is that Miss Chelsea Hobbs?
Yes.
Well, thank you very much, Chelsea. Chelsea, will you be wheeled round Brands Hatch in a wheelchair or something at the weekend, lass? And I miss you and Chris and everybody, by the way. There you go.
Interesting. Okay, fair enough.
Her boyfriend's a rider called Chris Green. Does the Northwest and Superstock and such. Just a great bunch of kids. They managed to get 8 of them on my scooter at the end of last year. After one of them had wrote it off, which Richard Blanchard or something. But then they got 8 of them on, and then started riding around the paddock on my scooter. There's a picture on Facebook of me looking very, very happy about it, I might add.
Okay.
Next.
To be fair, there's a lot of stuff on your Facebook, most of which is pretty...
I've got clothes on this picture.
Okay, that's good. I was going to say most of the stuff is pretty scarring, but including the pictures of your scar. But anyway, right. Thank you anyway, Chelsea. He said the £10 is in the post for saying that. Other gossip, Liam. Do we have other BSB gossip and news?
Not too much. As I mentioned, the Royal Sky thing, that's been confirmed apparently. Basically it's all been talked about.
Have we basically just decided who's going where? Is that what
I think you have? Yeah. We could just mention quickly who won the championships in their
might as well. Scott Redding won apparently.
Did it?
Yeah.
Dunno.
We've not mentioned that at all yet, so
I wouldn't have thought that, you know.
Someone should say something.
So well done, Scott Redding. 7 wins on his way to the BSB title this year. So at least we got that out of the way.
To be honest, just before we talk about the other amazing champions that were crowned in BSB, Scott has come in for a lot of criticism, and for various reasons, whatever your reasons are, whether you don't like his style, his attitude, the different type of atmosphere or crowd or celebrations that he's brought to BSB, you've still got to give him a lot of respect as well.
Why? I don't understand what people don't like in him, because he's a young lad that's just won a championship and spent this year winning, enjoying his life. I do not get that's people not. It's not people not liking him. That's just plain jealousy. He doesn't go out and offend anybody in any way.
He's a nice guy.
He goes out. He goes motocrossing. He's a good kid, and all he does is have fun. And then the second he goes to do his job, when he goes to work, he's the consummate professional. It's only like someone having a 9-to-5 and going out from Friday till Sunday, getting absolutely mortal drunk, and then walking into work on a Monday morning and getting on with the job. But because he's in the public eye, and I think it's pure jealousy. He's an arse, he's this and that. No, he's not. He's a kid having a good time. That's all it is. And if they don't like it, that's what they can do. Sorry.
Fair enough. Just to...
I like the way you put that.
Well, I mean, we never want to elicit negative comments on this show, definitely.
But it's just... I'm right, though, aren't I? He's not... He hasn't said anything controversial. He's not running to other riders. He's not called other riders. There's nothing that you could actually... You could say this year, right, Scott Redding's done that, and that's really upset me. He hasn't. He's just a kid that's enjoying his life, and more power to him, I reckon.
Yeah, Luke Walters says, true, well said, Michael. And also a comment which has just scrolled off my screen, which is fantastic timing. Nat Jarvis has been on. Says he's heard Skinner is going to take Jack's seat. That's a bit old news there, Nat, because we talked about that, and I think it's
Nat's good for old news. If you ever want to know what's happened last week.
Oh, anyway, Christine Chamberlain's been on, a BSB marshal. Sorry if I forget your official title, but I think he's like a he's not. Yeah, anyway. Hello, Christian. He's been in touch, and he said he was chatting to Shane Byrne on the Sunday. Now, whether alcohol was involved or not, I don't know. He didn't specify. But he did ask Mr. Shane Byrne as to whether he's going to come back and get on a bike. And according to Chris Chamberlain, he says he's working on it. Perhaps that's the same sort of working on it that Michael Howard's attempting. But probably I'd put money on Shaky actually doing it if he genuinely wanted to do it. But he seems to be sort of enjoying life, being a Eurosport guy. I mean, he's looking healthier than ever before, especially versus 10 years ago, anyway. So, anyway.
Come on, Lester.
I hope he just grips you and slaps the crap out of you.
We like Shane, and, you know...
I bet he liked you.
He probably doesn't.
Liked you.
He probably doesn't, to be fair. But that would be interesting if he did actually just like the one last hurrah to think, actually, I've got unfinished business on this Ducati.
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
Is it likely to happen, really?
It'd be nice if he got on something and at least got to go to Spain during the testing time and got some time on a bike to see. And be allowed to make his call, But then a team's got to have another rider waiting in the wings, and if Shaky's happy and he stays there, then what's this other rider going to do? So, from my personal experience, knowing that you'd never want to go out on an injury, I can understand why Shaky would want to come back.
Okay.
And there'd be a lot of teams willing to take him if they knew they had another rider. Maybe there's a team that's got a rider in Superstock that they know they can bring straight in or something. Someone needs to, if Shaky wants to get a test on a bike in Spain, someone will put him on it. Someone will put him on something, I'm sure.
Dave, get in touch. Just a suggestion. Chris has been back in touch as well. And Howard's not. Okay, he's gone again. Fair enough. Okay, but Chris has been back in touch, and he says, this is a quote on the actual chat that he was just saying. It was said at the weekend, it will be a Spaniard that will go to Paul Bird in 2020. So maybe the Simeone that we were talking about earlier, that would...
No, he's Belgian.
I'm just
he's
looking.
Belgian.
Is he Belgian?
Dave Tyson must have Skype, and he said, send me Leicester's number, but I don't know how to send him Leicester's number for Skype, so I don't know what to do.
Right, well, I've got him on Facebook anyway, so I'll just ask him.
Well, Facebook him and see if he can come on, because
what's going on with your camera anyway? Right, go on.
My camera's dead, and I've got 5% battery.
You said you had a full battery. I even asked you before the show. Just make sure. Yeah, I've got everything charged up here.
We've used 95% of my battery.
Jesus.
Got an iPhone? Because if it's an iPhone, I know that. Oh, yeah, they last like 20 minutes.
In the bin.
Yeah. So I'm going to have to wrap up and sod off and leave Supersport and Moto 3 to you guys. Moto Star, whatever it is.
Oh, what have you done? I can't handle this myself.
You're going to have to manage. See if you can get Dave Tyson on, but I'm going to have to shoot, and because I'm going to have no battery, it's going to die in a second.
Right. Well, we'll have a whip round in future for Michael Howarth's a decent phone. Let's get me a decent phone. There we go. So, Michael Howarth, thank you for joining us. And he's probably all the text messages, all the enraged text messages from various BSB team owners going, WTF, the hell are you talking about? What is this? What is this crap I've been hearing? What have you been saying about me? Who am I supposed to have been signing now? That's probably all wasted his battery. But anyway, thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll do another one before the year's out, and I'll see you all on that. Thanks for having me again. Thank you.
Cheers, man.
No problem. All right. So with that, we have got not long left to whip round and talk about some of the support races. Sorry, Lee, you were getting on to... We get so sidetracked on this, but yeah, some of the other champions in the BSB paddock.
Yeah, so congratulations to Brandon Pash, who wrapped up the Motorstar Championship, Scott Ogden, who wrapped up the Standard Class Championship, and Cody McGreevy, 600 Superstock champion, and Elliot Pinton, who wrapped up the Junior Supersport Championship. So they've done really well throughout the year, and a massive well done to every single one of them. They came under a lot of pressure throughout especially the last round of the championship. Soaked up the pressure and held on. So amazing stuff for those champions there. And the good thing is, they're big names to actually keep an eye out on, especially in the motor-start. And Elliot Pinson, we've known him throughout the years, Cool Fab. So it's good to see him picking up a title, and he's a fast rider. We've seen him win some Extreme 200s and Pitbike 140 races in 2019. So yeah, it's been a good season of racing, not just for the British Superbikes and Super Sport. If you weren't a bit fed up with Jack Kennedy running away with most of the races, and to be fair, even though he did win a lot of races, there were still some great battles throughout the Super Sports. But it's been a good season of racing, and we've got some brilliant champions.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, and there's absolutely nothing negative to say about that whatsoever.
Unless you've got something negative.
Never, ever.
Yeah,
say
come on.
anything
We
negative.
know that you like to say something negative.
I only have praise for all of the champions that have won. Moving on to some of the other things as well. A lot of people. Now, I thought this was definitely confirmed by Rory Skinner. I certainly thought it was a done deal on the Sunday. But a lot of people, including Nat Jarvis as well, who's been on, and I think you suggested that Rory Skinner, and you were saying it as though it's not yet confirmed, set to take over from Jack Kennedy at the Appleyards Yamaha. But I thought it was confirmed.
No, I heard from some very well reputable sources.
Was it Rory?
No, it wasn't Rory. Just because we're Scottish doesn't mean we know each other.
Do you?
No, okay. I don't. I've spoken to him. I've interviewed him once, but that's about as far as I got. But no, I don't know him. I've spoken to him. Doesn't mean I know him. I don't know what kind of underwear he wears or what he goes to the gym. So I don't know.
What did you hear?
So I heard that Colin Appleyard spoke to Eurosport, and they said, yeah, we've signed Rory Skinner for next year. Now, I'm just saying I heard this. I didn't see it, so I can't.
Well, I congratulated him because he was in the WD-40 garage when we were watching the Storm's valiant effort to almost win the 600 title, and he was there, and I congratulated him on re-signing, and he said thanks. Yeah. Didn't talk to me in length. But.
Oh, I mean, yeah. Well, you probably know him better than I do now, so.
Well, he was he was just there, He was just like,
He spoke to him, so you got to know him.
I mean, he's literally sort of there, I was pointing a camera at him.
Oh, look, there's Dan Marr.
Yes, and I was there too. I thought I'd best probably capture what might be an amazing eruption of celebration.
Can I just point out, there's Jeff Crust, right? So Jeff Crust used to own or run the Yamaha squad in MotoGP with Max Biaggi and Carlos Checa. So I don't know if you knew that, but I just thought that'd be
knew that. Of course I did. Yeah. But I was there anyway to capture the reaction from the WD-40 garage as Storm Stacey on that Stove Connect bike got into a position. I think he came from 6th on the grid, if I'm remembering rightly. And me and Dan had a bit of a bet before this race started that he'd get to at least the podium. And I forgot at the time that with the championship points situation. But as he moved up the order and he made his way into the lead, I think there was a safety car midway anyway. He got himself into the lead, and therefore he was then leading the championship mid-race. But as the restart happened after the safety car, it just wasn't to be as something. I think he had a little twitch or something, or ran wide in one car. So he did something. And the team getting really, really pumped up, and you can almost hear the reaction from the team. Yeah. When they actually realise that I just very narrowly misses out, and Rory Skinner was there, stood next to Dan Marr.
It's good that you got this because not a lot of people get to see the reactions, especially at BSB and MotoGP. It's all covered, and World Superbikes have got cameras inside the pit boxes, so it's good you got to got to
Well, I was there. I
get
thought,
to the
I might
garage
as well
and
just
film it. So yeah, it's very interesting that you absolutely covered that one. So well done, you, Lester.
Well, I just stood there with the camera. That was all. That was my involvement in it, to be honest. But no, Rory. Yeah, no, I did. Say congratulations. Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
That was the chat I had.
He's a very
with
shy
him.
character.
As I'm presuming that is definitely a done deal. So there.
Well, from what I heard, it's an absolute done deal. But as I said, if people can get in comment if it's a done deal or not, or
Rory, get in touch.
Yeah, Rory Skinner, come on, Colin Appleyard.
Well, if he said it on Eurosport, then he's not gonna. If the team boss said it on Eurosport, then obviously. But also as well, we can't neglect to mention Corey McGreevy as well, who actually won the Stock 600 Championship. Liam. Yeah,
brilliant season by Corey. His Super Stock 600 has been fantastic all season long, and you can't deny how good 600 Super Stocks are. And from when I was looking at it to potentially one day get into VSP paddock as a rider, which failed, the Super Stock 600 was something you would just glue your eyes to constantly because of the amount of great racing. It was basically like Moto3 is now, back then, and it still is. So it's a tough class, and if you come out as champion, then you are a really good talent, as we have seen with Ryan Vickers this year. He won it last year, and he's now in BSB and done a very good job all season long.
Yeah. Definitely, and well done to everybody else who was champion, and the rumours will definitely continue on the BSB and Support Classes fans Facebook group, at least. So if you wanted to know all of the relevant hot gossip and getting touch and join the group, and why not, it'll probably make the winter go a lot quicker, especially when you go on.
So I was just going to say, I would like to say that the marshals and all the organisers done a great job in BSB this year, because we've seen a lot of big crashes that year, nonetheless, at Brands Hatch. Like, for example, Luke Mossy having a horrible one in the opening race. Yeah, and then obviously
Cadwell as well.
And Joe Francis' bike blowing up and causing a number of riders to go down in race one as well. And so we've got to give a big thank you to all the marshals and everything that have done a great job all season long. Without them, we can't go racing. And another one that had another rider had a big crash was Chrissy Rouse in the Stock 1000 heat, and he managed to get back in the race on Sunday and got into the points. So great ride by Chrissy as well. So it was great to see that a lot of riders, they had big falls, but they'd get back up again and put on a brave effort. So yeah, Chelsea actually mentions that she's been back in touch, and she just wanted to, I suppose, big up Chrissy Rouse for getting back on his bike after the Stock 1000 incident, getting back out with a pit lane start and finishing in the points as well. That was probably the only race all weekend that I did not see myself. Which was probably the most. What were you doing? Were you slipping around the paddock trying to find gossip?
Literally, yeah.
Really?
I think I was in the other paddock at the time, and then I might have been getting some food actually. And then you hear everyone, and then and then there's no bikes, and then you're like, hang on, there was a race. It wasn't supposed to be a race, and then something that obviously happened. We caught up and found out. Yeah. But anyway, Chrissy Rouse, who I'd like to know exactly what happened to his scooter, if he managed to get that back. He posted on social media at the weekend that someone pinched his scooter from thy paddock at the weekend, which was one of a couple of things that happened in the paddock at the weekend. We won't go into everything because we don't know specifically all of the details. That's why. But there has been comment and speculation about all of the other stuff, but particularly Chrissy Rouse, because we were just been talking about him. Big shout out to Aaron Clifford as well, who's and his dad, who's been posting regularly his updates and his road to recovery as well. We'll be keeping you updated on that and him on the BSB Fans and Sport Facebook group throughout the winter, and hopefully with some better news about him getting back on the bike and ready to race in 2020, if that's indeed what he wants to do. Probably might be, I don't know.
Well, he is a racer. As soon as you're a racer and you've got the bug and you're young enough, then it doesn't matter. An injury, you'll want to come back and you want to be even stronger than that. So it'd be good to see him back next year.
Christian Chamberlain's been back on as well, and something that I have to admit, I think I've forgotten about. I did know. Liam Delvers? Is that what you...
Delves, yeah.
Delves. Joining Tag Racing for 2020 on Stock 600 for a championship assault. Forgot about that one. Sorry.
Yes, it's a good signing and definitely a good team to be part of. So
absolutely,
it's all changing. It's I've got to thank Christian for getting in touch with that one as well.
Absolutely, yes. Is there any other bits of pertinent information or big news that we need to mention before we go for another week? I probably should mention, while Liam's racking his brain about that, that you can download and listen again to this show if you missed anything, especially when we've got big name guests on, other than Michael Howarth. But when we actually have riders and racers other than Michael Howarth actually on the show to interview, you can actually, what we usually do is cut out that snippet so you don't have to troll through the entire 2 hours usually of the show, and you can just listen to what they say, as what we did with I think Josh Elliott a couple of weeks ago, one of our more recent interviews. Josh Elliott was in the paddock, and did bump into him and his dad, he's still looking for a ride.
Well, surely Josh Elliott won't be left without a ride for 2020. It'd be a damn shame if that's the case, because he has a BSB race winner.
It's more the case of, I suppose, looking for or waiting for a good ride, because yes, there are a couple of things available that, naming no names, that he'd probably, I mean, his stock is, in my opinion, his stock is still quite high. He's got he's coming into 2020 with a better and bigger reputation than he's ever had previously in his career, being a BSP race winner, podiums and all that, and a lot of people now are fans of Josh Elliott, and were very, very upset when he left the team, as was expressed by a lot of the comments when we did our interview. But he was in the paddock, and he thanked me for giving him a platform to vent. Apparently could have gone on and said much more, but as professional as he is, old Josh, he's still looking for that ride for 2020, and maybe something might come up, and maybe just because the team starts out a season with a set of riders, or some one, if it's just a one rider outfit, doesn't necessarily mean by round 2 that rider's still on that bike.
Yeah, you're right. We've seen many times over the years that riders have come and gone mid-season, and it seems to happen a lot more nowadays, but then again, maybe we're just more aware of it now.
Yeah.
It does chop and change quite a lot, and I would prefer to see riders stick out the whole season, but then again, if the team isn't happy,
most of the time, to be honest.
Yeah, but if the team isn't happy, the rider's not happy, then there's no point in sticking around. If you've got something else potentially that you could go do, then yeah, absolutely. It's such a shame that Josh Elliott did lose his ride, because James Ellison came in and didn't really do anything better.
Stop being negative, Liam.
I'm not being negative. I'm actually saying that Josh Elliott was doing a better job. James Ellison, great rider, brilliant back in the day. The last couple of seasons, he's just not the same rider as he once was. I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong.
Tumbleweeds everywhere. But I think it's a good note to end that little... We'll just say Josh Elliott deserves a ride for next year and leave it at that, I think. Chelsea's been back in touch. Did we mention the Irwin possible team?
We've heard rumours about that.
Yes, but I think we decided to not discuss that in foremost. Considering most of the crap that we discussed on the show anyway, that was one of the things that we decided we would.
Yes, because you never know with that one, because it has been touted for a while now, but it kind of went on. It kind of got the door shut on it. It was put away, put in a drawer forget about it type thing. And yeah, I mean, don't want to speculate, but there's a potential team up with all three Irwin brothers ending up in the same place. But who knows?
Maybe it will only just remain as a rumour. Dean Hipwell hanging up his leathers was announced, I think, on the Monday or Tuesday of this week. No, definitely Monday, because today's Tuesday. So Dean Hipwell deciding to hang up his helmet, so to speak, from the as a rider, anyway. But apparently the team continues with a rider for 2020 as well. That's a reminder there from Christian Chamberlain, which I'd completely forgotten about, to be honest. I did see on my timeline on Facebook, but it was just one of those things, and I got back from Brands at like 2 a.m. and I was dead, basically. So yeah, I've forgotten more stuff than... Yeah, basically, which is why we have to write a lot of stuff. We actually do a lot of prep for this show, and we write down a lot of stuff that we think we remember, and there's like 2 or 3 times more stuff that we've forgotten about, or that just don't get time to get mentioned. Anyway, that is a nice end to a natural end to the show, I think, Liam.
Yeah, as indeed. I thought you were going to mention the Motorsport Awards before we went.
Well, since you mentioned it, where's me old jingle?
I wish I never said anything now.
The old Motorsport Awards, where is it?
It was in the prep, that's why I brought it up, because it's the only thing in the prep we haven't mentioned.
I'll find it, where's me awards? Hold on, I've got loads of jingles here with loads of things in the old... Motorsport Awards, you say, Liam?
Yeah, I don't know much about it, so you have to tell us about it.
Well... Hey. Okay, so the Motorsport Awards are currently receiving some nominations, and we would like your nominations, please. Well, how do you do it? Well, you can go onto motorsportawards.com and vote for your Driver of the Year, Rider of the Year, Team of the Year, Off-Road Award, self-explanatory, Karting Award, again, yeah, that. And it could be absolutely anybody or anything, anywhere. Doesn't even have to be British either. Star of the future on a bike. Who might it be? Totally your decision. Young Rider of the Year. That should be for someone 16 years or younger. Also, what was your moment of the year? Something maybe MotoGP? Was it maybe just something in Cool Fab Racing that we've been streaming live? Or was it something amazing, emotional, terrific in BSB? Get in touch in the Motorsport Awards and have your say. And there's loads and loads of categories, by the way. Marshal/Official of the Year, the best race of the year. What was it? What's the best championship of the year? Not always necessarily the ones that you think are going to win. Best race bike, well, it might be a Ducati, could be something else, probably Ducati, to be honest. But you never know, Liam. Never know. You never know. Also, skipping ahead, I am a little bit because there's lots of categories. Commentator of the Year, will it be Fred Clark? You literally have to nominate them to get them into the final top 10, the final round, which the list of which gets unveiled in a couple of weeks in November. Image of the Year, are you a photographer? Do you know a spectacular picture that was taken by a photographer this year and you think it deserves to win Image of the Year? Then nominate it, upload it, let us have a gander at motorsportawards.com. The best TV production company, surely has to be Eurosport, the people who produced BSB, you'd think. But if you don't nominate them, then they're not in with a chance of winning. Best engineering, who is it? Where was it? What was it? Best race or road circuit. Well, it was last year race circuit. We've expanded it to be road circuit. Might it be the TT course? Maybe. I don't know. Last year it was an oval circuit in Norfolk. Could literally be anything. Best investment, insurance company of the year, the best trade show / exhibition. Or might you have an opinion on who should win a Lifetime Achievement Award? Who should win a lifetime commitment to motorsport? Should it be Mr. Higgs? That's an interesting one. Spirit of the Sport or Unsung Hero? Who do you think? Go to motorsportawards.com right now and have your say on who you think should win a Motorsport Award for 2019. There, I mentioned it.
Well done, Lester. You deserve an award.
Yay! Okay, that literally is it, by the way. So thank you very much for tuning in and being involved in all the gossip, basically. Thank you very much to Michael Howarth and to everyone who's been in touch on their chat, however much trolling they did. Good to have you anyway. Thank you very much, Liam. What will you be up to this weekend? Anything motorsport related?
Yeah, well, I'll be watching the MotoGP. I'll be watching... Yeah, so that'll be on.
Yeah, of course.
I might keep a passing glance on what's happening in four-wheel stuff. And, yeah, everything else is on. So I've got a Saturday off, which is the first time in ages that I've got a Saturday off. So I'm going to spend that doing stuff motorsport related. So I can't wait. Looking forward to it.
Good stuff, and I'll be, as I think I mentioned at the start of the show, I'll be back at Brands Hatch for, we'll be live streaming the Formula Ford 1600, no, it's the Formula Ford Festival, actually, that will be live streaming, so I will try my best and keep on top of everything else. Never usually works, but that's one of them things. It'd be weird for me being back at Brands anyway after what happened at the weekend, but we'll have live coverage of four-wheeled motorsport here on Motorsport Radio this weekend, so tune into that if you don't mind a bit of single-seater action, bit of wheel-to-wheel banging, then tune in. Thank you very much, Michael Howarth, as I say. Thank you, Liam, and thank you for tuning in. That is it for the Superbike show. Thank you and good night.
The Superbike Show on Motorsport Radio.
Hey everyone, Bradley Smith.
Hi guys, I'm Danny Buchan.
I am Tom Sykes.
This is Motorsport Radio.
We can play some.
And we